Let's get more on the quarter here. Bring in Loup Ventures Gene Munster. He's been listening in on the company's call. So, Gene, what are the highlights so far from that call?
Melissa, I want to start with, this is a stellar advertising business. Hats off to them. It's pretty easy to do the math. They talk about this tale of the two quarters. We can just simply break the quarter down into the first 9 weeks and then the 3 weeks where things really hit. And they were growing their advertising business at 20%, which is the same rate that they grew over the past 4 years. Impressive. And what is more surprising to me is over the final 3 weeks of the quarter, they effectively grew that. It was effectively flat. They talked about on the earnings call that it declined dramatically from that 20%. But for me, a flat business in this environment is impressive. So hats off for an incredible advertising business. Engagement to off the charts. The amount of searching that's done is 4x higher than where it was in the Super Bowl. So people are at home, they're using Google products. This is all really good for their advertising business. But I think it was Guy who was talking earlier too, is that just to put this into perspective is for companies on the other side of this, what does the future of investing look like? This is still an advertising business. I mean, we have cloud, which is really the only diversification, is 8% of revenue, solid business. But if you compare that to a company, let's say Apple, which is slightly more than half the revenue is outside of the iPhone, and other companies that are really trying to engineer the future world, that's where I come to as a trader, as someone who's investing in this, think about the multiple longer term. 26 times next year is still a pretty healthy multiple.
Gene, I don't know how how advertisers work in terms of how real time what Google or what Alphabet takes in is a reflection of what is going on in the economy. But for instance, if you're a travel company or a small business and you want to advertise on Google, do you buy that a week out? Do you buy that 2 weeks out? I'm just trying to figure out if there's a lag time, because they're specifically talking about the last 3 weeks that we have seen. And so if people have sort of bought that ad space 3 weeks ago, maybe we don't really know what the full effect is.
So what's unique about the Google model, this is different than Facebook. There is that lag effect. We'll be paying close attention to that. It turns off virtually immediately. There's not pre-buys on that. And so that's why they referred this as 2 quarters. I think there's a very clear delineation after the first week in March. And so that's good news. They can come back relatively quickly. They also had on the piece on the comeback side, as they said that some of the results in Asia Pacific were slightly more positive, which I think speaks to trying to put some of these pieces together about when this recovery starts. I'm a conservative person. I try to always exceed expectations, and I think that Google is setting expectations here that ultimately things are starting to improve. It is encouraging.
All right. Gene, thank you. Thanks for your time and analysis. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
So, Guy, your quick thought after hearing what Gene said and the latest from the conference call.
Well, I'm not correcting Gene because it's hard, he can't see, but it was Steve, I think, that mentioned sort of the diversification that Google enjoys, or to Steve's point, maybe not enjoys as much of us think. And again, if you're putting your trader cap on, which I think Gene was sort of doing, I'm not taking anything away from the quarter and the fact that, they probably operated better than a lot of people expected. My point is this: if we look at it in the context of what the broader market did, and we're going to talk about that in a few minutes, I don't think there's anything wrong at this level, this 1275, 1280 level, which again is a 50% retracement of the all-time high and the recent low, to take some money off the table and look to buy this stock cheaper.